So let's get started. 25 people here. Welcome everybody to the Sugar Bar. So the Sugar Bar. Hello. Yeah, with me here today at the Sugar Bar, before I open it for everybody who wants to speak up, is Matteo from Italy, Sushi from Japan. We saw him on stage the whole morning. And there's another person in the room with me. That's Lena. Lena, come over quickly. Come over. Hey, yeah. So you will see her facilitating some of the questions and statements that you hopefully post to the bar. So what is this whole Sugar Bar about? Well, make yourself comfortable. Get yourself a beer, a wine, a coffee, a soda, whatever is appropriate for your time zone. What you do at conferences when there's a break, you go to the bar, you chill, you relax, you meet people, you have a chat, and you make friends. And this is what it is about today. So we meet some people, and before you start, coming up with your question, posting them to the chat in your chat box, we have a little conversation, the three of us, to give you some time. And as soon as the chat box filled up, we ask you to come on stage as well and have a chat with us. In terms of collaboration, how do we collaborate? There are some rules. I mean, at Design Thinking, we always have these golden rules of collaboration. For those of you who are familiar with design thinking approaches, there's a company called IDEO, and IDEO has an IDEO mantra when they do collaborative creative sessions. And based on this mantra, we stole it a little bit. We came up with our mantra for the Sugar Bar. And I want to read it out to you because some of you may have a blurry screen depending on your performance of the internet. So the mantra, and this is the rules I want you to follow. First of all, defer your emails to later. Stay tuned with us here, yeah? So don't move away. I said stay tuned. And while, we start chatting, combine things you have seen in the morning, topics that you have seen, anything that sparks innovation in you, and then post wild ideas to the chat or statements. We are at a bar, so don't forget to have one drink at a time. Don't do two drinks. You could, not good. And then also the last rule is build on the cheers of others. So collaborate with each other. With this, feel free to post your statements, your questions to us into the chat box, and Lena will observe it, and then we'll call people on stage. Apropos stage, there's Matteo and Sushi, as I already mentioned. So welcome to you again.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Niels. I stand for the rules.
Good. Okay.
Especially the last one.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you are in time zones where there is actually eating time at the moment. Matteo, we are in the same time zone. For us, it's lunchtime. And Sushi, you're in Japan. What time is it in Japan now?
It is almost 7 o'clock p.m.
7 o'clock, so that's dinner time. Is that dinner time in Japan?
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Very much so. Okay, so I hope you all prepared some food for lunch or for dinner. Awesome. And Matteo,
yes, mine is coming.
Food is coming. That's great. Sushi is obviously in his office in the front of the green screen. Oh, Sushi, keep it up a little bit. I can't see it. Wow. So Sushi got sushi.
I'm gonna get the most traditional meal of Bologna, but it's coming exactly at 12:05, 12:10. Sorry. So you need to wait a little bit. Need to be cooking.
Yeah, and also see some interesting stuff in your background, Matteo. Tell us a little bit what's in the background.
Okay, we are now in Scuderia, Future Food. Collab space, which is where we do food innovation here in Bologna. And the thing that you see in my background, it's the future farm zone. So you can see like aquaponics, and we do like urban farming for education and research. And this is the tower garden which you might see because it's the traditional farm that it's in many schools in the US, and it's where children learn what farming is if they don't have access to farmland. And we also have some small things that people can have in their homes to do some, house gardening.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
And I have some more things for you later. I also want to lead you to the Future of the Future box, but that can wait a little bit.
Great. So I guess since it's dinner time in Japan, you're not in such a fancy environment, aren't you, Sushi?
Not at all. I'm in a fairly small room with a green screen, as you can probably tell.
All right. Perfect. So one of the things that I'm actually interested in, and probably you can share your stories. I mean, you're, for the audience and for those of us of the audience who do not know us in person already, Matteo, Sushi, we are all teaching teams at different universities. So we are in the sugar program for quite a while, actually. But probably this is a good entering point for our audience. Matteo, Sushi, tell us a little bit, what is your story with sugar? So when did you start? How did you get into it? How did you get even in touch with the Sugar Network?
Matteo, you can start.
Sushi, you want to start? I start? Okay. I was there when Sugar was founded in 2011, and I joined the community some years before, but of course not like Sushi, because he's probably the oldest fellow in the sugar community, if you can call it like that. But yeah, everything started at Stanford, and we were able to make the vision that Larry had to lead what he was doing at Stanford University to a global level, a concrete and real case. And the nice thing is that we got a lot of other crazy people like us along the way, where now we are a super global community, and I'm happy that every year we are growing.
Thank you. How about you, Sushi? I think you're probably one of the oldest, not in terms of age, but oldest, long-lasting members of the Sugar Network. Is that true?
Probably. Okay, so members of the university, probably. Me personally, in my involvement, probably as well. I need to explain a little bit of the history of sugar as well and how it plays off with ME310. So I think a lot of the students don't know this either, but sugar is based off of a course at Stanford called ME310, which is led by Professor Larry Leifer. And when you keep hearing Larry, that's the one it's referring to. And I want to say about 20 years ago, he had this crazy idea that it would be really cool if students from two different universities can collaborate project together, because with the research they had this insight that diversity is the best indicator for innovation. So that started about 20 years ago, before Slack, before Zoom, before Skype, when people were still using Polycoms and emails with desktop computers with like monitors this big. And that's where I started. So I took ME310 at Stanford in 2004, 2005, when I was a master's student there. And my project was with BMW, and the university we worked with was actually TUM. So TUM went missing for a long time because it was an entirely different department because the professor retired there. And then long ways around, I understand, Niels, I think you're one of the people who are involved in getting TUM back into the network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we different department of TUM today. It's more on the information systems side, the colleagues from TUM, and back in these times, I think it was the mechanical engineering department.
So the mid-2000s was like the wild, wild west of global collaboration in ME310. Like all the amazing tools that you guys get to use, like Google Docs, Slack, all that didn't exist. Like we were booking time on Polycom machines to actually have a face-to-face communication that you can see. Skype was like the cool new thing, and it was barely usable back then. Anyways, fast forward, that was ME310. At some point, ME310 said, hey, let's do all global projects. But at that point, it was still ME310 and other universities collaborating together. in 2009, I got picked up by ENPC, which is where D-School Paris is, to help kind of launch their program over there. So I went over and like, cool, let's start ME310 here, because the word sugar didn't exist. And we had one project with Stanford, but I thought it was really cool if we could start collaboration with other universities than Stanford. And that's when me, Veronique Hillen, who was leading the program at the time, and Lauri Repokari, I'm sure some of you know this crazy Finn, kind of built up a plan to start a project between Paris and Helsinki. And that was really the first time a non-Stanford project was part of the network, along with another project between Helsinki and the Kyoto Institute of Technology, where I am now. But those are kind of like the unofficial sugar network projects, let's say. And then fast forward, now the sugar network, or let's say the non-Stanford projects, have like what, 25, 30 projects, and Stanford has like 8. So it's kind of like flipped around.
Right, network effect, absolutely. But actually, you mentioned a good point, Sushi. KIT Japan. This is the bridge over to probably the last one here in the audience, on the stage at the moment, who has not introduced himself. It's me. I'm Niels Feldmann. I'm a teaching team at KIT in Germany, so the other KIT team. And Sushi and us, we have a well-maintained battle. Which of the KITs is the real KIT? And Sushi, high five. Yeah, so it's a friendly battle, but it's a running joke here at Sugar. So in terms of time, before we go on with interviewing and asking questions, let me quickly ask Lena if there are any questions or people who want to join us on stage. Lena, how are you doing?
Yes, there's one question, and I will admit Andre to the stage. Andre,
yes.
are you ready?
Andre, come on, join stage. Join us.
I'm a little scared of the question coming up.
Yeah, me too.
I just hope it's not a question.
But if you want, I can start with a story about sushi.
Yes, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
You know, I was researching. Oh wow, Andre, wait a minute that I'm sharing this story. I was looking about the most traditional food in Japan, and guess what? It came out, sushi. And sushi was kind of, coming not from Japan, like you do with the traditional foods. You discover that it's not coming from there. Like, Porto wine is not coming from Portugal originally, but from UK people, right, Andre? But sushi came originally from Southeast Asia, and it was a way to conserve food, put it into rice and vinegar. And they put raw fish in rice and vinegar and ship it from, Southeast Asia, China to Japan. And then Japanese people, which are very smart, throw away them. So let's cut the rice and the fish and eat it together. And then they basically invented sushi out of a packaging of food. So that was really, a very nice story of, tradition and innovation.
All right. So, Andre. Welcome on stage. Also a long-term Sugar member. Hello.
Thank you so much. Hi, guys. Really nice to see your faces again. Even though we in Stanford University. I don't know I think you explained already the story behind sushi, right? How it was developed. But the question that I put on the chat is like, what is the story behind sushi name? It's Sushi Suzuki. Since 3 or 4 years that I'm part of this network, I would love to hear from here.
I knew that was coming. All right, you know what? Because this year is so special and everyone has been so challenged with everything going on, I will actually reveal my name. I'm surprised you posted on the chat yet, because some people do know.
Drum roll.
Literally, my name is like Sushi, S-U-S-H-I, with A-T in front of it. I do have a pen and paper, actually. Give me a sec. All right, can you see that? That's an A, not an H.
A little bit lower. Yes.
Yeah. AT Sushi. Yeah, my colleague Tatara Sensei is also posting it as well. It's actually a very, very common Japanese name. I have the second most common first and last name. Like I'm seriously like Michael Smith or Michael Schumacher. Actually, Schumacher probably not famous, but
or like maybe Pista Ferrari, right?
exactly. But when I moved to the US in '93, when they looked at this name, they couldn't pronounce it as Atsushi. That's how you pronounce my name in Japanese. Instead, they looked at it and said, at sushi, like at the place sushi. And then sure enough, I mean, these are middle school kids. So like a week later, that was just gone. And they just kept calling me sushi. And that I've had that since 1993. So even when I moved back to Japan in 2015, I've been using that name, which, yes, confuses the hell out of Japanese people and everyone in the university. But it's also really, really easy to remember, so I keep using it.
Cool. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for finally sharing, at least with me. I was super crazy about like, what is the story behind this great name? And the Suzuki, do you have any explanation for the Suzuki?
Suzuki is a pretty common Japanese last name. I think it's about 1.3 million people with that name. And if you take apart the writing, it's literally bell and tree. Most Japanese names are typically like descriptive of geography, like base of the mountain or like next to the river or something like that. So I don't actually know where that comes from, but I've never really questioned it. And there are many famous Suzukis because it's so common, like the Suzuki method if you play violin, or of course the motorcycle.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
Thanks a lot. Is there any more questions from the audience? Anybody else? Anybody wants to have a drink?
Yeah.
Yeah. Coffee here. Pina colada. Oh gosh, no, sorry. Out of stock today, Andre, sorry. Okay, but until we wait for, that's another comment.
Oh, hi.
Hi, sir.
Guys, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would love a drink. And yeah, do you have anything for me?
Yes, sure. I mean, we have.
You want something in?
Yeah, sounds good. Yes, no, sounds good. Oh yeah, thank you very much. And now I'm ready to go.
I also have some kombucha.
All right. So enjoy your beer, Samuel. Huh?
Thank you.
Matteo, what's that?
That's kombucha, fermented tea. It's actually very popular in the US right now, and it's a little acid, but it tastes quite good.
Okay, right. But that's probably a bridge over. You want to show us the Food Innovation Center at Bologna, and I'm very curious about the center because Matteo, last year they had a challenge on establishing crisp bread in Italy. And I really wonder if this worked out. So do all Italians crave crisp bread now, or are they still eating pasta, olives, and so on? Maybe you could answer the question where you are.
Actually, I have to say that there was a very sharp move toward healthy food all over the world, including Italy. But I'm going to tell you in secret, people in Italy still love pasta.
Mm-hmm. Okay, they still love pasta.
And
me too.
Yeah, and and it's also very interesting what it is to do food innovation, because you need to have some traditional elements, because we like to recognize what we love, but also some new element in the food that we eat, because we are curious to experiment. So the project you were mentioning last year was shared between Italy and US, and in fact, the solution that the team came out were actually two solutions. It was like a dipping chocolate crisp bread for the US market, That was actually very nice. It was more on the sweet side because US palate were more on the on the sweet side, and in Italy it was actually a savory snack that you could actually bring and give to your kids when you want to to be healthy.
Okay.
We don't assure that they are going to eat it, but if they only have that and they're very starving, then there are high chances that they have it.
I have to admit, I still love the Italian sausages and the bread and the pasta. So, but I will try when I come down to Italy. Some of you.
Yeah, we here also have some new stuff. I don't know if you like it. It's kind of gross. But
what's that?
Can you see it?
I can't see it.
It's like flour made of bugs.
Of bugs. Oh well, I tested something like.
Yeah.
Oh well, wow. What's that, sushi?
I also have.
You also have kombucha.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Kombucha. Okay.
And despite the name, it's actually not the Japanese.
Yeah. That's actually. Behind me, you can see the lab where we're doing fermentation tests and cereal tests, and we also have some bugs if people are brave enough to taste it.
Okay.
Would you be brave enough? Would you taste the bugs?
Yes, I do. I already did something like this. Back in November, I was at a conference in Berlin, the Falling Walls conference, and they served actually insect food there. So I've done this.
Okay.
I've done this. Anyway.
And what's your opinion?
Oh, I mean, it was okay. It was a bit crisp, to be honest. Yeah, very crisp. But the flavor was not very exciting, but it was okay for me. And we got the best thing was probably the chocolate covered grasshoppers. This was the best.
Yeah, we have it here.
Okay.
We also have chili lime cricket.
Okay. Cool. So, Matteo.
Yeah. Matteo,
I would suggest get prepared to show us the most traditional dish because it should have been arrived already. And while you get prepared, I asked Sushi, how would you, first of all, which teams do you have this year in the game? Probably give us an introduction to your teams this year. And then I would like to know, do you have a special role in the Sugar Network? Anything you're famous for?
Oh, okay. Well, so the two teams that we have this year, if you were at the final presentation, you probably saw them. It was an NKC Kaiman with microcooling and the refrigerator technology for hotels, and the team Yamar coming every year with Kansaru, the cute little robot that goes around and inspecting farms.
Yes.
And if you weren't able to check it out, please go to the Expo tab and check it out there. And do I have a role in the Sugar Network? I sometimes feel like I'm the Sugar Network historian because I've been around the longest. I don't think I have any other official one besides the fact that I'm the one who gets called on for information from the past, or photography. I tend to do a lot of that. So you probably have seen me with cameras and like the GKO and the Expo. That tends to be my role whenever we are physically together.
But I can think of two roles you actually will already have or you will have. I mean, I heard about a book.
Oh, yes. I'm the whip cracker.
Yes. I heard about, and I always feel guilty when I hear the word book. So,
yeah, me too.
So I guess this is the announcement to everyone as well. And as a result of making the announcement, we are also committing ourselves too. So for everyone in the audience, the Sugar Network is writing a book on the Sugar Network and how we run these projects and how we coordinate and how we have the most amazing international and intense educational innovation experience. We have the team, we've split up the tasks, and we're through it. And I guess I was kind of the instigator for this a year ago at the teaching team meeting, and I've been cracking the virtual whip on email trying to get people to contribute. And some have been better than the others, but we already probably have like 5,000-10,000 words. So if there are any chapter leads who are in the audience, Matteo, that's you too.
Thank you. And also, I mean, we all don't know exactly how will Corona evolve over time. So what is allowed in the fall or so, but potentially there's a chance that we see each other physically in fall this year. Because
I forgot that too. Yeah. So GKO, the Global Kickoff Workshop that starts off the whole 9-month sugar journey, last year was in Hefei, China, and this year, I'm knocking on all the wood possible in this room.
Yeah, me too.
In Kyoto, Japan, we are going to be the ones hosting it at the Kyoto Institute of Technology. So hopefully we can see each other physically next, and hopefully that will be in Japan.
Thank you very much, Sushi. And now back to Matteo and the famous dish.
Yes, it's coming. I see it in the back, and we also have the chef coming out to show you what this is. Can you guess? What is the most traditional dish in Bologna? Eccolo.
So.
Say hi.
Thank
you.
It's
like this. Yeah,
Bolognese.
That's the way. Yeah, it's pasta. But which type of pasta?
Bolognese. It's
Yeah.
Tagliatelle.
Exactly, tagliatelle a ragù. That's actually most traditional Bolognese dish. People in the world call it spaghetti bolognese, but as you can see, they are not spaghetti. They are actually flat. You can see it, right?
Yeah.
It's flat pasta with meat sauce. And also that's a story of innovation, really cool. Like only not later, like can you recall what is the color of this? It's like brown and red, right?
Yes.
Because there is tomato. But only 50 years ago, in the traditional Bolognese sauce, there was no tomato, nothing.
Okay.
It was just pure meat. But as people are getting into a healthier lifestyle, and we needed to have like a sauce that was a little lighter, we added tomato. And since it was good, like all the people in the region started adding tomatoes, and then right now it's red all over the world, and it's a tomato-based sauce. So it's really interesting how food tradition actually evolve over time. They're not static.
So you mean you camouflaged unhealthy food?
No, that's not the case. But I have to say that people tend to evolve their recipe through time, adapting to the local conditions. Okay. So right now we also have, coronavirus delivery. Goes from my mother to my apartment. It went also through the lockdown without problems. But as my mother used to say, lasagna are much better in person. So you are all welcome here in Bologna for a real dish of the lasagna, because they taste better than in a picture.
Yeah. Apropos delivery, Tomasz from Switzerland just asked in the chat whether he can do an online order with your chef. So
yes, we can. We can. We also have a project for that, so stay tuned.
Okay. So we have 2 minutes left. If there are any further people who would like to come on stage, ask a question, give a statement, how did you like the morning, anything that was particularly exciting to you, just feel free and ask Lena to enter the stage, and she will give you access.
Actually, can I suggest someone to bring up on stage?
Absolutely.
Since we're talking about sugar and names, even though the question wasn't asked, why is it called sugar? And the person best set to answer this question, Maria Fernanda Camacho, is in the waiting room. So Maria, could you come up? Do I let her in? I guess I could just click.
Yeah, I think you're moderator, so you can actually give her access.
So
Lena, put her in. Lena,
okay.
Put her in.
I hope she's able to join, because she was there at the beginning when it started. Hey, Maria, good to see you.
Wait.
We can hear you.
Maria, sugar!
Hey! Sugar!
Sure.
Wonderful. Just 1 minute to say that. Sugar. I would have never imagined that we would get this far. And that, I mean, this is a pandemic allows us to get together globally in this way. We would have never thought of that unless the pandemic had come. And I think it's so amazing. It's the first time in, I don't know, 2 or 3 years that I'm able to take part and see the projects and see you all guys. And it's so wonderful. I congratulate you all. It's so perfect. I saw the presentations. Everything worked perfectly. Sushi, we were just saying with Carlos, you just, how do you do it? You just never grow old at all. Well, you see, I've changed. But yeah, just massive congratulations. You've gone so far. So it's so amazing. I'm glad that the world pushed us a little bit to become even more creative than what you were.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Maria. We have a few seconds left because we have to move over to the panel. And so, Sushi, was there a particular question that we can answer briefly?
Where does sugar come? It was from Celia Cruz. Carlos, my husband, who's somewhere over there. He said to Larry, hey, what about Celia Cruz saying azúcar? Because she's the salsa dancer singer of all times, the best one, and she would say azúcar, and that was azúcar is sugar in Spanish, and that's where the name comes from.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And thanks, Carlos, for that.
Thank you, Matteo. Good to see you.
Thank you. Bye.
Good to see you as well.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. We're 2 minutes over. Please move over to the panel session. I will close the bar now, and we will reopen at 3:45 Central European time. You have to look on the agenda when it is in your time zone. I don't know all the time zones. Thank you very much. Thanks, Suki. Thanks, Matteo. Thanks, Maria. See you.
And let's gather around the table next time.
Yep.
Ciao.
Ciao, Matteo.
Ciao, Sushi.